Hey, what's happening guys? Mark back in the workshop on Mark's Aquatics. Now, a few of you have asked me to breed this species of fish, and the species we're going to be breeding is white cloud mountain minnows. Now I've got about 8 or 10 in here. I bought them yesterday. They've been in all day, they've settled in, I've set the tank up, everything else. They're all happy, I've been feeding them up well throughout yesterday. Everyone's looking healthy, everyone's looking fit, and so it's getting later in the evening now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to blank this off because it's quite light in here early in the mornings with the sun coming in over the pond and through the windows in the pond area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this up with a towel. I've got my tray, my funky little tray with my fish on that side. I've got a tea towel on this side, towel over the front, keep the maximum light out because I want you guys to see the spawning action when those lights first come on in the morning, okay? So that's the game plan. So in about 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'm going to pop down here, take that off, and hopefully we'll get some spawning action. So I'll see you guys first thing in the morning. Make sure you're up. See you in a minute. Okay guys, it's the next morning. It's 6:30 in the morning. I've put a towel over the tank because you can see on the left hand side there, on that tank, where the zebra danios are, those fry, the light's coming in because it gets quite light now, about, I don't know, sort of like 4:45, 4:30, sort of like the light starts creeping in. So I put this towel over the front of the tank just to keep the maximum light out of the tank until the first thing in the morning where we turn the lights on. So I'll take this towel off now, I'll turn the lights on, and we'll see if these little mountain minnows will spawn for us. Now just remove this towel carefully. Try not to spook them. There you can see my little logo in the background there. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I really appreciate that. Thanks very much. Right, let's see what happens. I'm sorry I'm not completely squared up there on the camera work. I'll just try and move things around a bit so I can get you a better view. That's my koi you can hear splashing in the background, if you could hear that just then. Alright, that's a little bit better. We're now a bit more centralised now. You can see them going in amongst the Java moss there. And they'll probably do everything behind the Java moss so we can't see, but hopefully they'll come around the front. Lots of displaying going on. Got that one little leucistic one in there. I've got one female in there, you can see her, she's massive, she's so full of spawn, it's unreal. Well, I hope it's spawn and not something nasty. As you can see, they're going in amongst, there we go, we had a little bit of spawning activity then going on underneath that Java moss there, I don't know if you saw that. But these guys normally spawn first light, like a lot of other tetras and things of that nature. There you go, in amongst the moss. Spawning activity, they're all spawning like mad there, look in the corner. Don't know if you saw that, down in that left right hand corner of the Java moss there. And those eggs now are going to fall in between. There they go again, in amongst the moss. And back out. In again. Little clutches of eggs being released every time they go in there. And this is going to go on for some time, so I'll let you guys watch it for a little bit longer, because it always fascinates me, the males with their little flaring fins. Males are a lot more streamlined, and females are the more torpedo shaped. Obviously you can tell that one female there, she's like a balloon, she's massive. Well guys, we're really busy in there still. Males are still trying to lure the females into that moss to spawn. Now and again they all dive in. Spawning occurs, and then they all come out again and start chasing each other about again. Well, I thought I'd show you the spawning process first, and now I'm going to take you all through the tank setup, water parameters, all that good stuff, media, and we can have a little chat about that now, okay? Right guys, I thought we'd do a little talk about these little white cloud mountain minnows. They're a beautiful little fish, super colourful little red tails, white leading edges on their fins. Beautiful watching them display away, as you can see them doing in the background there. Flaring the little fins up, trying to get those females to go over that Java moss still. We've had lots of spawning action this morning. They've been spawning over the substrate, on the moss, even behind the filters, and those eggs have been floating down in amongst the media. Yeah, they come from China, and they come from the Pearl River Delta area, and they're pretty much extinct in that region now. And it's made up of about 3 peaks, and it's a really popular place for tourism. Hotels, highways, all that kind of stuff, public walkways, and there's pollution there and everything else, and they've been really taken for the aquarium trade to a matter of extinction. There's been a few, Hennane Island I think is one of the last strongholds of them in the wild, but most of the places where they were from, like you say, the Pearl River Delta area, they're near enough, or they are extinct. They haven't been seen there for a long time, which is a real shame, but they've been in the hobby for many years. They're a beautiful little species of fish, very, very peaceful. They'll take in a community tank very, very well, but they are a shoaling species as well, so make sure if you do go to the pet shops and you see these, make sure you buy at least 8 or 10, because they do like to have a little gang, as you can see, a little school there, which keeps them happy, keeps them busy, keeps their stress levels down, and you will have a lot more success, and you're not going to end up with little white spot outbreaks, all that kind of stuff. Those 2 sneaky ones there laying eggs around the top of that heater there, look. They just took my eye. He'll actually wrap the body, here we go, he wrapped his body around her, quick spring, so we can have some little crossbreeds there. Those eggs are going to float down now in amongst those, in amongst the media. I'll get into the media and tank setup in a moment. But that was lovely, that you could see that little bit of spawning action. So it shows they don't literally just spawn over on the moss. They'll do it wherever they can get a female to a bit of privacy. That coupling will happen. He'll wrap himself around her. Eggs, sperm released, everything drops down, falls in amongst the substrate, and there it will sit for about 48 hours say, and they'll start hatching. They'll be free swimming then, and they'll be stuck on the side of the glass and in amongst the moss on the filter. And the good thing about these mountain minnows is, guys, is they're not really cannibalistic towards their young. So you can, if you've got a tank with them just on their own like this, you can get away with leaving them in the tank, because they won't really prey on the young. So that's one good thing, and you could end up with a nice little colony going. They're fantastic for outside little ponds. If you want to put some in a pond in the summer, even in the UK, if you've got a nice warm area in the garden, or you heat your pond, you can put some of these in. They're fantastic for keeping the mosquito larvae down, so those little monkeys don't come flying through your window at night and biting you on your arms and legs and everywhere else, and have you itching away. But they're great for getting rid of mosquito larvae. That's what they feed on mainly in the wild. They're omnivorous, which means they will attack a wide variety of foods, all the way from carcasses they find in rough times where the water's depleted in the wild and things like that. They'll go and they'll eat, obviously, other things that live in the river with them that are passed on. They'll feed on that in times of hardship, or they'll be taking the mosquito, you know, the small planktonic size creatures out of the water flow as well. And obviously in captivity they're going to be taking flake, pellet, and they'll readily take most things. So they're a super easy fish to keep. I think they're absolutely beautiful. I really do. I've kept them for many years, and I've got some down in the tank. Most of these have come out of the tank down below where my big crayfish is, and they do a fantastic job of cleaning up after her. And because they're really speedy little fish, they're spawning again down the bottom there. Big cloud of eggs going into that substrate. They keep her tank really clean as well, so that's a nice little double-edged sword. They're good for cleaning up tanks as well. But don't forget, if you've got them in another tank with a lot of other fish as well, in a mixed community tank, your fry aren't going to hatch, because if you've got tetras, glow lights, all that kind of stuff in your mixed tank, they're going to pick the babies off very, very quickly. These tetras are super fast at picking off bits of prey in the water, especially very, very small things. They'll creep up on them and they'll have them in a millisecond, they'll be gone, so they'll be predated on quite quickly. So if you've got a tank like this, it's a good idea to keep a few, breed a few. You can take a few back to your shop, get some credit on them, like I've said before, make yourself some money, get yourself some food, and just put a bit of money back into your hobby, really. That's what I tend to do. All the other fry are doing really well. The neon fries are doing well. I'll do an update on them shortly. And the zebra danio fry are doing really well. I've got a couple of other breeding projects on the go, which I'll let you in on as time goes on as well. All the baby plecos are doing well. All the albino bristlenose longfins, they're doing really well. I'm putting on some weight, feeding them that rapashi Solient, I think it's called, the Solient Green, which really does, they really love that. They leap all over that stuff. But anyway, guys, what I'm going to do now, we'll have a quick chat about the tank. I'm rambling now. I get into this and I start rambling away, and I get off topic. But what I'm going to say now is the tank water parameters and things that they need, okay, and what setup that we've got here. Now, these little guys can withstand a great little range of temperatures. They're temperate fish, so they can be kept in like 20 degrees sort of Celsius water, 68 Fahrenheit, and pH of around 6.5 to 7.5, so they're quite forgiving with water parameters. And we'll take to what I tend to do with mine, I tend to keep them in just into straight tap water around here is about 7, so that's fine for me. I just keep it at 7, tap water conditioner, nothing else, just straight tap water with tap water conditioner. They don't need any super soft water like the tetras do or anything like that. They're going to grow to around 4 centimetres. These are fully grown, the ones you're looking at, which is about 1.5 inches long. So they're only a small little fish, but they're super active and super colourful. Right, tank sizes. This is a 20-gallon tank. Okay, so it's a nice size. We've got in the base, now a lot of people they use marbles. You can use marbles if you've got them. Frankly, I haven't got any, but what I have got is a lot of this JBL substrate, round ball sintered glass I think it is, substrate, and I've literally just put one layer of that. JBL, when I did the bench tank, when they sponsored me for the bench tank, they gave me a couple of bags of this, I'm not sure what it's called, Micro Mech I think it's called, and it's a very good media. It's not as good as Richards, I will say that. The Biohome is a lot better media than this stuff, and but that's why I haven't used it. I always use this stuff, but I've put in I put one layer across the top there, and I've just used that for a spawning media instead. I mean, it will work okay. You'll get colonisation in it, like anything will colonise with bacteria over time. But I'm just using it as a spawning media, so those eggs fall in amongst it and they can't get to it, and it gives those little eggs time to settle without being blown around by the adults, and it will let them hatch. They can stay in amongst there for a little while or a few hours when they hatch. Or we've got the Java moss in there as well. Now that is basically just doing the same thing. It's giving them something a little bit more natural. There we go. Might have some spawning behaviour there in front of you. There you go. They're all diving in. A few eggs released, and they're going into that as a natural spawning media. Same as the floating plants, guys. You can see the floating plants. I'll just go back a bit. You know they're up there. There they are. All the floating dwarf water lettuce, they will go up in amongst the root systems as well, and they'll lay their eggs up in amongst those. So we've covered all angles really. We've got the pebbles on the bottom, we've got the balls on the bottom there, they'll fall between. Like I said, no marbles, you can use media, anything like that. The Java moss, the filter's going, it's a cycled filter, so I thought I'd just put it in there. You don't need it as such, like on the Tetra tank. If you can see there, the baby Tetra tank there, there's no filter in that since we bred those. I just do a regular water change once a day. I put 2 litres, take 2 litres out, put 2 litres back in, okay, of fresh tank water, aged tank water, tap water, sorry. And they're doing extremely well in there with some Java moss and some floating plants in there as well, which are going to absorb that nitrate and keep those tanks, to keep the tank nice and clean. As pools in the, you don't see pools out in the wild with filters in them. The plants, everything which is in amongst, they're spawning away there, look. Everything that's in nature creates itself. You haven't got filters in there. The plants, the earth, everything in there is the filter itself, and that's what you can replicate. But as long as you're giving regular water changes and you're not overstocked, you're going to be okay. You'll get that happy medium, and you don't really need a filter in that case if you go along those lines. But most people are going to do it this way. So like I said, you don't need a filter, but I had a cycle filter, so I've added one. The moss, the stones for the substrate, and that's it. General tap water, super easy to breed, and they're really, really nice to watch. So I think I'm going to call it a day there. They're still happily spawning away. I think what I'll do this evening is, after they've spawned, I'm going to take them out, I'm going to put them back in their tank, and I'll let the young hatch then, so we get a maximum hatch rate, and we can bring up some little minnows for you then as well, okay? Anyway guys, thanks for tuning in. Hope I didn't ramble away too much there, and as always, you're all stars. Love you loads, take care, and I'll see you on part 2 of how to breed white cloud mountain minnows. Take care, bye for now.
Just me and my guitar.